Hi Lenny, I'm Laura from Her.ie. How are
Hi,
you?
Laura. Nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I am a massive fan of your work,
Thank you.
from what Richard did to Frank and now Room. I can honestly say it was one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. And it's
Thanks.
been really well received. How's it been?
It's been amazing. It's been wonderful, really. I mean, it's been very tiring. Last few months I've been on the road with it, and I've never had to do this level of publicity before because it's because of the sort of American connection and because the film's been well received. It's entered a whole other level of promotion.
It's based on the book in the same name by Emma Donoghue. And for people that maybe don't know the story of the book, can you just give us a brief synopsis?
It's a story told from the point of view of a 5-year-old boy who, as far as he's concerned, lives a perfectly normal life with his mother, and they've been living in this place for 5 years, and we just drop in on a day that happens to be his birthday, but otherwise is just a routine day. We gradually recognize it's kind of not like everybody's life because it's all taking place in this one small room. But the boy he's a very happy kid. He's protected by his mother. He has her attention completely. But we gradually realize that, in fact, they're captives. They've been locked in this room. The mother was locked in this room and has since had this child. It's a very unusual way into a situation which would normally, I think, be treated as a kind of true crime, shock horror scenario.
Yeah, I mean, the movie is obviously, the storyline's horrible and so sad, but yet it's so positive. Like Jacob, the little boy, sees like inanimate objects as real things, and it's so loving, and you kind of get... I felt like I was watching almost a documentary, like a fly on the wall.
That's lovely, because that's the biggest compliment, really, to a filmmaker, I think, that you believe the characters. And at the same time, there's a magic in it, because that's what Emma's done in the novel. But in the film, it's quite tricky, because you are looking at real stuff. And I don't do any tricks, like there's no sort of animation or anything like that. But yet you somehow, I think his view of the world is infectious, and you kind of feel it. And I think the film is ultimately hopeful because it's the story of an escape. It's the story of how it's possible to really live and embrace life even after something like that. This is really a story about love. It's a love story between a mother and son.
Yeah, and you touched on the escape part of it, and I won't give too much away, but obviously people that have read the book will know exactly what happens. But there's one scene in the rug, and my heart was just pounding, and I literally had to say to myself, "You're watching a movie. You're watching a movie. You're watching a movie. It's okay." Like, are you relying on actors? Obviously, Jacob was 7 at the time filming it. Are you relying on their skills, the camera work, and it all just working?
It's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything. It's this whole strange mixture of broken up elements. Filmmaking is the most unnatural, kind of messy group activity, that logistical nightmare. So as you do it more and more, you get more and more used to controlling that chaos to hopefully get you something that when you put it together doesn't feel like it's got any joints. But it's funny, in that sequence, like people, I've heard all this, like people have told me stories like people shouting in cinemas, "Jump!" Without sort of realizing
oh my God,
it.
it's just, yeah.
And it's brilliant because it's this little thriller in the middle of the movie, which is so great because it's also so lo-fi. I mean, it's not like there's no pyrotechnics, there's no CGI, and yet I think people find it pretty much as tense as anything they've ever seen in a cinema.
Yeah, definitely. It was amazing, incredible. And so let's talk about all the nominations and awards you've won, and you're up for some Golden Globes. Are you nervous about the speculation with Oscars? Do you take any heed of that?
It's hard not to, because it's so around, it's hard not to think about it because everybody asks you about it, and also, everybody's human, and so you sort of get a little bit carried away with it. I think because I'm naturally quite a pessimistic person, I think what tends to happen to me is I view it as an opportunity for disappointment,
Okay.
Because the more hyped it is, the more, like, if it doesn't happen, you sort of go, So
Yeah.
I think I try to manage those expectations because I'd rather not be too disappointed if it doesn't happen.
And look, you've obviously worked with the likes of Jack Rayner, and I think you launched his career essentially with what Richard did. And now Jacob, although he's been seen in other movies, has definitely come to the forefront and is going to be massive in the future. Do you like finding those actors that their careers are just beginning?
Yeah, I do. I mean, Brie, who was fantastic, has been fantastic in many films, and in Short Term 12 was amazing, hadn't come to the fore really to public, for the public until this. I love working with actors. I think I'm good at spotting something in actors. And like, it's funny, I was even thinking about it. Dominic West, who's like The Wire and now The
Yeah.
Affair. Very first thing he did on film was a short that I did.
Oh, wow.
And I think, I'm not quite sure, but I think in this MasterCard commercial, I may have, it might have been Michael Fassbender's first ever paid thing, or certainly an early one.
That's a good claim to fame.
That's a good claim to fame. So yeah, I've had a, yeah, and Jack is,
Yeah.
a huge example, although Kirsten Sheridan cast him
Okay.
in Dollhouse before I cast, so I can't claim that was the first time.
Yeah.
I should really, though.
Yeah, you
shouldn't
should.
I?
Sure, look,
yeah.
grand. Well, listen, thank you so much, and best luck. We're going to be telling everyone to go see it in January.
Thank you so much. Pleasure.
Thank you.